Twice a year, America experiences a government-sponsored jump scare. Your deepest sleep dreaming of normal things like tax evasion or spiders with human faces on them, or your high school crush, or being invited to the top floor of a hotel in Abu Dhabi by Dana White and you have to climb like 300 flights of stairs and there are no walls on the stairs and you're really worried you're going to fall off. The normal things, when suddenly the clock strikes 2 a.m. and an entire hour disappears into the void. We call it daylight saving time, but the truth is, no daylight is being saved, because that's not how the sun works. Time is just being shifted, slightly and poorly, like a couch on a hardwood floor when a dog jumps onto it. I'm King Trout, and God once whispered the meaning of life to me, but it was in my bad ear and I wasn't really paying attention, and I've since forgotten. Join me today as we discuss one of the strangest ongoing rituals in American life. Daylight saving time.
Before you type that comment, I just want to let you know it's daylight saving time. It's not daylight savings time. It's singular. You're just saving daylight. You're not saving daylights. Not to be pedantic, just to be correct.
It's a system that everyone hates, no one voted for, genuinely hurts people, doesn't really save energy, if not costs more energy, and primarily exists because golf and candy companies lobbied Congress in 2005. I'm serious about that, by the way. Today, we'll break down the absurd origins, the wartime panic that brought about daylight saving time, the lobbying that keeps it alive, how it's bad for your health, and why now, more than ever, is the time to get rid of it, or permanently keep it around. One of the two of those. Daylight saving time's origin begins with one man, Benjamin, ambassador to France 8 inches at a time, Franklin. In 1784, Franklin was living in Paris and wrote a satirical essay urging Parisians to wake up earlier in order to save candles. It was meant to be comedic. It was a bit. It was a goofy little ha-ha. But some people took it seriously. Well, kind of. Anyway, it's largely believed that a British man named William Willett independently came up with the idea in the 19-teens. He wanted more daylight hours so that he could participate in his hobby of collecting bugs. Autistic. Excuse me. The year is 1916, and apparently there's some sort of kerfuffle going on in Europe. I'm not quite sure what all that's about. But the Germans were running low on coal, and they had an idea in order to conserve energy. What if they just lied about what time it was? And so they implemented the first modern daylight saving time in an effort to conserve fuel. The British jumped in on this later that same year, and then in 1918, the US joined as well. And immediately, Americans hated it. And I mean hated it. Congress repealed this daylight saving time in 1919, overriding President Woodrow Wilson's veto, because Americans in 1919 were willing to deal with trench warfare, the Spanish flu, and having Woodrow Wilson as president. They were not willing to change the time on their clocks. But war emergencies kept dragging daylight saving time back from the dead. For example, during World War II, wartime was implemented between the years 1942 and 1945. There were also some local ordinances and just random statewide rules. For example, in my home state of Indiana, there are 2 time zones in 3 different places. It was chaos, a time law Wild West. Neighboring towns could be in different time zones. Imagine, see that Dairy Queen over there? Over there, it's an hour ago. With the growing implementation of commercial airline flights, Congress finally had to step in with the Uniform Time Act of 1966. This act standardized clocks nationwide, reintroduced daylight saving time, and created the modern system that we still use today. A system nobody wanted, but here we are. Let's get into the modern excuses for daylight saving time and why they're all garbage. Argument numero uno. Daylight saving time saves energy. Spoiler alert! Nuh-uh. The National Bureau of Economic Research found that the implementation of daylight saving time actually increases energy usage by about 1% because of the increased demand for air conditioning. California's Energy Commission conducted a study and found that there was no meaningful impact on energy usage whatsoever. It's estimated that during daylight saving time hours, the cost of energy on each American home is roughly $4. Argument number 2. Daylight saving time is good for the economy because people shop more when there's more daylight. Kinda, but there's not really any evidence one way or the other. This, however, did not stop sporting goods manufacturers, candy manufacturers, and convenience store lobbyists from lobbying Congress during the 2005 debate for daylight saving time extension. Yes, the current schedule for daylight saving time exists because candy manufacturers wanted kids to trick-or-treat longer. Seriously, I'm not making that up. That is recorded in the testimonial statements. Argument number C. Kids prefer more daylight after school. Aside from the counter-argument of who gives a shit what kids think, science actually says the opposite. Children and teens are especially vulnerable to daylight saving time sleep deprivation, according to the CDC and multiple other academic studies. This sleep deprivation affects their mood, their learning, their metabolism, their attention, and their school performance. Hand in hand with this argument, I've also heard a lot of people argue that daylight saving time is dangerous for children. This argument says that they're on their way to school while it's still dark in the morning, which is much more dangerous. Those who argue this often cite that during the energy crisis in the 1970s, Congress implemented daylight saving time as an attempt to save energy, and fatalities for school children in the morning did go up. So what they're saying is true. When children start school while it's still dark out in the morning, it is more dangerous for them. To which I have the counter argument, hey, stick, how about we start them in school later in the day? There are literally hundreds of studies proving how beneficial a later start is to children's learning. They don't have to wake up at the ass crack of dawn and go to school. We could just start them at school slightly later. Argument 4, and by far and a mile the dumbest argument, it's tradition. Daylight saving time isn't a tradition. It's a century-old policy implemented due to coal shortages, wartime panic, and department store lobbying. Just because your great-great-grandparents decided they were going to do this silly thing where they changed the number on the clock because they were cold during World War I doesn't mean we have to do it forever. So now the time has come for us to get into the science. Changing the clock by 1 hour is the equivalent of flying from Chicago to New York every year, twice. But the thing is, your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, doesn't give a shit. It's biological. It doesn't change instantaneously like your phone does at 2 a.m., and it takes weeks for your body to adjust, and there are negative health impacts. These health impacts include a spike in heart attacks. A study in the American Journal of Cardiology found a 24% increase in heart attacks on the Monday following the spring jump to daylight saving time. Car crashes increase. Drivers lose an hour of sleep, so the roadways turn into demolition derbies. Fatal accidents spike after the shift to daylight saving time. Workplace injuries increase, and they're more severe. Yes, people literally get injured more after the shift to daylight saving time, and the injuries are worse. Stroke risk goes up. A study in sleep medicine found an increase in ischemic strokes in the 2 days following the shift to daylight saving time. Test scores drop. Teens lose even more sleep than adults do due to their unique circadian patterns, leading to documentable decreases in test scores. And depression increases. One study found an 11% increase in depressive episodes following the transition out of daylight saving time in the fall, leading to an increase in the word I can't say on YouTube. All of this because we've collectively decided there are 2 days a year when we'll pretend that the sun rose at a different time. Here's where daylight saving time literally becomes a conspiracy, a legal, documented one. During the 2005 to 2007 daylight saving time congressional debates, which ended up extending daylight saving time by a few weeks, the heaviest voices when it came to lobbying were as follows. I can't be bothered to remember them, so I wrote them down. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the National Association of Convenience Stores, the Sporting Goods Manufacturers Association, the National Golf Foundation, and the Candy Lobby. Candy lobbyists literally put bowls of candy at each of the senators' desks before the hearings. The clocks of 330 million Americans changed because some asshole in Congress got bribed with a free Snickers bar. That's democracy, baby. As of last year, 2024, at least 30 states have passed or introduced laws to end or modify daylight saving time. Many are begging Congress to adopt permanent daylight saving time, and others are begging Congress to adopt permanent standard time. Either way, everyone agrees arbitrarily switching the clocks back and forth twice a year is f***ing stupid. Here's the catch, though. States cannot choose to adapt permanent daylight saving time without federal approval because of the Uniform Time Act. They can, however, choose permanent standard time. So we're stuck until Congress does something, which thank God that's what they're famous for. Oh wait, no, it's the fact that they never do anything. Nothing ever happens. The most recent attempt, the Sunshine Protection Act, cute name, did pass the Senate, but unanimously died in the House. Because apparently ending a century-old time-changing ritual is too controversial. Here's a clip of President Bad Orange Man on the topic.
This should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. A lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way.
What are our options? Well, there are 4 choices. 1, we keep switching the clocks. To which I say, no, that's stupid. That's what this whole video is about. Dumb. Garbage. I hate that idea. Option 2, permanent standard time. This is the option that's supported by most sleep scientists and medical organizations. It's more in line with our natural biology and allows for us to have brighter mornings, and there's still some daylight in the evenings. Option 3, permanent daylight time. The pros are there's that one day in June where the sun sets at like 10:30 p.m. And the cons are there will be days in the winter when the sun won't rise until like 9 a.m. Option 4, my personal favorite, Trout standard time. You wake up whenever you're feeling it, you nap whenever you're feeling it. Just vibe-based. It's just a number, man. Just a number society's trying to oppress us with, man. Also, naps whenever you want. Mandatory naps. You have to take naps.
Every time Connor has not been somewhere I thought he should be, and I'm like, where's Connor? They're like, oh, he's taking a nap.
Yeah, I'm a very tired boy. God's eepiest warrior.
But until my benevolent dictatorship comes to fruition, we're all going to have to agree on something else. And most people who know what they're talking about agree on permanent standard time. I'm personally a fan of permanent daylight time because I like more light at night. I really don't give a shit if the sun doesn't rise until 9 a.m. I'm not David Goggins, you know. What does it matter? I'd much rather it be bright out after work in the evening, you know? But either way, now's the perfect time to end daylight saving time for a multitude of reasons. 1, we have decades of scientific research proving how harmful it is. 2, people in Congress are actually starting to give a shit, and people are interested in either putting an end to daylight time or permanently keeping it around, one or the other. Just getting rid of the time change is the big thing. And 3, everybody wants that to happen. Oh, and also 4, with modern technology, most of the problems that daylight saving time was attempting to resolve don't exist anymore. What can you do? I don't know. Call your congressman. Throw your clock in the garbage. I really don't give a shit. I just wanted to rant about this because I've been going to bed at like 7 p.m. and it's really f***ing me up. I'm so tired. So tired. Hate the time change. Hate the time change. But I love you. I love you so much. Anywho, I've been King Trout. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Love you. Bye.